what is, what if we could just say goodbye to like the common cold or the flu?
Oh,
Just
wow.
like completely eradicate respiratory illnesses. What would that world actually look like?
That is a really fascinating question.
It is. And you know what? There's this really interesting artist, Kasia Wolski from Poland.
Yeah.
They're doing this project called Immuno-Geometries.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it's all about personalized vaccines and like what that could mean for the future.
So like tailored to each individual person.
Exactly.
Wow.
So Wolski kind of paints this picture, right, of a future where these personalized vaccine boosters, they're just like commonplace.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's getting them.
Okay.
And because of that, respiratory illnesses, like they're super rare.
So we are essentially talking about a world where like people just don't get sick as often.
Much. I mean, think about it. Fewer sick days.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that would be a huge boost to, global productivity.
Okay.
Probably even lead to like more interconnectedness, because people are able to travel more easily and all that.
And just think about the impact on healthcare systems. Like, if we could significantly reduce the number of people getting sick with these common respiratory illnesses,
Oh, yeah.
that would free up so many resources. Not to mention the potential savings in terms of healthcare costs.
Huge, right?
Absolutely massive. And there's even the potential for, like, a decrease in antibiotic resistance.
Really?
Yeah, because if fewer people are getting sick in the first place, then fewer people would need antibiotics, and that could help to slow down the development of antibiotic-resistant bacteria.
That's actually a really good point. I hadn't really thought about that. But, Wolski's project, it's not all like sunshine and roses.
Yeah.
They also bring up some potential downsides. Like, what about the environmental impact of producing all these personalized vaccines?
Yeah, that's a really important consideration. I mean, you've got to think about the resources needed to develop, manufacture, and distribute these vaccines on a global scale.
Exactly.
That's a massive undertaking, and it's bound to have an ecological footprint. We need to think about the carbon emissions from production and transportation, the energy required to power these facilities, even things like waste disposal. Like, what happens to all those vials and syringes?
That's something I hadn't even considered.
Yeah, it's a complex issue with a lot of different factors to consider. And then there's the whole question of access.
Right.
Will everyone be able to benefit from these personalized vaccines, or will it just be those who can afford it?
And will that create like new forms of inequality? Or can it actually be an opportunity to promote global health equity?
It's a tricky balance to strike, because on the one hand, you have this incredible potential to improve human health.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you have to make sure that those benefits are shared equitably and that we're not doing more harm than good to the planet in the process.
It's almost like a tightrope walk.
It is, isn't it?
Trying to, keep all those balls in the air at the same time. And that's what's so fascinating about Wolski's work. It doesn't just present this like utopian vision of the future.
Right.
It actually forces us to think about all the potential consequences, both good and bad, and to like really grapple with these really difficult questions.
And I think the way that Wolski uses art to do this is really powerful. I mean, using these intricate geometric patterns inspired by Polish folk art.
Yeah.
To represent the complexities of the immune system and these personalized vaccines, it's brilliant. It makes these complex scientific concepts more accessible, more engaging.
And more like thought-provoking.
Yeah.
It's not just like dry data and statistics. It's art that makes you feel something and it makes you think.
Absolutely.
So, listening to this, thinking about this future that Wolski's laying out,
Right.
I mean, how do you think it would change your life? Like, would you be all for it or would you have some reservations?
I think I'd be cautiously optimistic. Like, the idea of a world without constant colds and flus is definitely appealing.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'd also want to make sure that we're not rushing into things without fully considering all of the potential consequences.
Exactly. Weighing the benefits and the risks, right?
Exactly. We need to be thinking long-term, both for the sake of human health and for the health of the planet.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into immunogeometries. Thanks for joining us on Exploring Futures.
It's been a pleasure.
And before you go, just a final thought to leave you with, okay?
Yeah.
If these personalized vaccines really do become the norm, like, will they end up creating new inequalities? Or could they be this incredible tool for, like, global health equity?
Yeah.
We want to know what you think. So share this with your friends, your family, anyone who'll listen. And let's keep this conversation